packaging and labeling. For the introduction, we're going to discuss the concept of lightweighting of packaging materials. Lightweighting is pretty much the process of reducing packaging material weight, and that helps to minimize material usage. And some examples include using thinner water bottles or utilizing materials such as bioplastics. Um, the next topic we'll also talk about is regulatory requirements and compliance for product labeling. Labeling information is crucial for consumers in helping them find information on products, ingredients, usage, instruction, and safety warnings. Some emerging technology from labeling includes smart labeling and QR codes. And then we'll also discuss the role of green packaging and environmental sustainability. Green packaging refers to eco-friendly packaging solutions that helps to reduce waste and that helps companies with their sustainability efforts. And some examples include using biodegradable materials. And then next we'll move on to the impact of label pack automation on production efficiency, or LPA. LPA refers to the automation process of packaging and labeling in manufacturing. Some examples include smart label applicators or using robotic systems in packaging. Next, we'll move on to the historical background. During the Industrial Revolution, there was a shift from handmade and localized production to large-scale industrial manufacturing. With this shift, it allowed for packaging and labeling in manufacturing to become a faster process, while also reducing labor. And what this shift also led to was a new introduction of using materials such as glass and tin for packaging goods. And what this did was it kept products, it could keep stored products for a longer period of time. And then next we'll also move on to the barcode development. And in 1948, the barcode was invented and developed by Norman Joseph Woodland and Bernard Silver. Initially, this was created as a way to find information faster in the retail industry. Barcodes, as shown here, they're a system of lines and spaces that are scanned to represent the product information. And the barcode became widely adopted across various industries, and it revolutionized inventory management, supply chain operations, and of course retail checkout processes. And then we'll also discuss products and materials. There's a wide range of products that are produced from packaging and labeling, and this includes food and beverage packaging, as discussed earlier, pharmaceutical packaging, household cleaning products, electronic devices, and accessories. Common materials that are included with packaging and labeling are paper and cardboard, plastics, and some plastics include PET, HDPE, or LDPE, which are plastics that have varying densities, metals such as aluminum and tin, and biodegradable or compostable materials.
I will be discussing some of the current advancements in the packaging industry. So, as Kaitlyn discussed, we're seeing a large shift towards green packaging, and this is just companies would like to improve their image and be more eco-friendly in our current day and age. And there are a lot of ways that they can go about this, whether it just be by reducing the amount of material used or by changing the material and making it something that has less of an impact on the environment. One of the big examples of this is, as you can see, the honeycomb paper or wrapping paper is used to kind of protect things in a similar manner to how bubble wrap would but it does it without using any sort of plastics or adhesives in the process, making it entirely compostable and recyclable. And then, as you can see over there, there are just simple paper containers, which normally in previous years would have likely been made out of plastic, but due to the shift in the industries, they are now trying to go more eco-friendly. There are also many advancements in packaging design software. This allows for companies to make the most efficient packages possible by using the least material and maximizing the amount of their product that they can fit into that package. And it really helps with things such as putting pallets on trucks or warehousing, so you know how many of each thing you can put in one spot. And also, again, as was discussed previously, is lightweighting, just using less material to get the same job done in as good of a manner. I'll also be discussing labeling advancements. And one of the main things is there's been a great advancements in scanning technology. And as you can see here is a picture of what is known as an extended range scanner. This can scan anywhere from 3 to about 50 feet. And before, what you'd have to do is you'd have to have two separate scanners. You'd have to have a short range scanner, which would be anywhere from a couple of inches to a couple of feet, or you'd have to have a long range scanner, which would be like anywhere from 30 to 50 feet. This is just the best of both worlds and allows you to have the most flexibility with what you're doing. Also, there are big advancements in the databases that all the labeling used to store their information. And this really helps just so you can get accurate information about whatever product you are trying to gain information on, whether it be locations of things, quantities in your inventory, or even simple things like just safety data sheets. And also, there has been a lot of advancement in labeling adhesives, just because they're trying to make it more recyclable for labels rather than having a mostly paper product that cannot be recycled with just due to the small amount of adhesive that is on it. And finally, I'll be discussing automation advancements. So automation is generally used to decrease the variation and human error that we will find in the packaging process. And this really helps increase your efficiency because you know where things are and how to properly get there. There was no things getting put in the wrong spot on accident. It's just more consistent. And it also, using systems like you see here called sortation systems, you can allow for greater variation in the pallets of product that you will ship. Now these act as giant vending machines for product, and it can build different pallets out of many different products rather than what normally happens where you only have one product per pallet. So for this, you can have 20 different products all with different size boxes, but the system is able to figure out what exactly it needs to do to build a pallet with a certain combination of products. And then also by that increased efficiency that I talked about, it reduced costs by making sure that you get things done and you get them done accurately. You're never wasting anything by something being mislabeled and in the wrong box, and then it has to be thrown away because you don't exactly know what it is. Yeah.
So next we want to look at a company that ends up using a lot of the advancements that we talked about in labeling and automation, as well as following the green route of doing lightweighting and switching to more eco-friendly packaging. So the company that we'll be looking at is Amazon, which was founded in 1994 by Jeff Bezos. Amazon is one of the largest distributors of consumer goods almost in the world. In the United States alone, in the last year, they delivered almost 3.5 million packages. And they are also following different eco-friendly laws that are set up in Europe. Right now they're trying to replace single-use plastic delivery bags with air pillows so that they're a lot more sustainable. As well as Amazon started using automated packaging technology, which cuts made-to-fit paper for packaging, which cuts out a lot more of the waste. Next slide, please. Here we have a video.
the Capel Amazon Fulfillment Center. This building is just over 1 million square feet and employs over 900 full-time hourly associates. Robot behind me is called RoboStow, and this is a 6-ton robotic arm that lifts pallets of items 24 feet onto a second platform. You have Amazon Robotics. Those particular machines weigh over 700 pounds, and they can lift up to 3,000 pounds of customer items. The Amazon Robotics are really fascinating to watch. They're moving on a field of QR codes. They have motion sensors, so there's a couple of times where it looks like, oh, are they going to run into each other? They're not. They're very smart. They know not to run into each other, and they're just moving the items around, and it is really interesting to watch these guys work in action. That's the packing station, and that's where once an item has been picked with the Amazon Robotics, and then associates will pull those totes. They'll pack them up in the back boxes, put in all the packaging, the padding needed to make sure they get to your house in one piece. So this is the SLAM line, and SLAM stands for Scan, Label, Apply, and Manifest. It does not mean that a label is being slammed onto your item. It basically is the first point that a customer label and mailing address is being added to the box. Packing customer boxes into the back of a truck is a lot like playing a game of Tetris. We don't want to pack air. Air is expensive, it's heavy. We'd much rather pack it to the brim with customer items.
Wasn't that fascinating? And as discussed in the video, lightweighting is a part of reducing all that air and making sure you're only having product in there. So one of the biggest challenges that Amazon faces is sustainability and the excessive waste of packaging once you're done with it. So a part of the way to address this, Amazon is working on optimizing their packaging designs with techniques to be discussed, such as lightweighting. Also implementing more sustainable materials so that they can actually be more recycled, or they've recently replaced the tape with a paper tape that is not plastic, so it's a lot more friendly for the environment. And then they're also investing in initiatives like frustration-free packaging to reduce waste and improve recyclability. Frustration-free packaging is a lot more fitted around the product, so it is a lot less open space, a lot less waste. Next slide.
All right, now we will be going over some of the pros of this new advancements in packaging and labeling technology. The first one is things are more organized. It's a lot easier to know where things are, what each thing is, and how to get there and move it to where it needs to be. This really helps, as you probably know, in a company. Whenever you can't find anything, it really puts a damper on things. It makes things take a lot more time than they should, and it really makes your job a lot harder than it would need to be. Also, it reduces environmental stress by making sure that we're not overproducing plastic waste that is just unnecessary and not really helping anything out. If we can get to that perfect spot where we have the right balance of protection for the product inside the package and making sure it is eco-friendly and not having a negative impact on the environment. Also, it helps with lower variations within the packaging and labeling process. The labels will more than likely be placed a lot more consistently on boxes. Boxes will probably a lot more consistently be filled with the right amounts of product, especially if they are the frustration-free packaging and everything is to size. Yeah. And some of the cons of these advancements are it is very expensive to update packaging. Whenever a company has to go through that process, it is generally really expensive because they may have a bunch of product on hand that they have to then throw away or scrap because it cannot be used. And also just making sure you cleanse your inventory of all of that and ensuring that there will not be any crossover between the two. It's just a very difficult thing to get right a lot of the time. And packing with green materials does tend to be more expensive than standard materials. And this is mainly due to them just not being as common in the industry. And with a lower selection of producers, it becomes a lot harder to try and find competitive deals, especially for things like green packaging. And also equipment costs are expensive. And this is especially true with automation. Anytime you're automating something, it will be a lot more expensive of an initial investment than it would be to do it by hand. But even though this does reduce your operating costs, it is just a very expensive first step.
So then, in conclusion, the future of packaging and labeling industries is heading towards a more sustainable, innovative, and consumer-centric market. There is a growing demand for eco-friendly materials and minimalistic designs to help reduce the waste generated from packaging. And technology advancements such as smart packaging and augmented reality are revolutionizing the way products are labeled and marketed in today's environment. Thank you for listening to our presentation. These are our references.